All right, guys, quick favor before we start. Please click follow, like, subscribe. It means more than you probably know. It helps more people discover these fighters and their stories, and it drives real fans and attention to them, which is exactly why I started this podcast. Their stories matter, and I promise you will root for them through every single fight. Now, next up is a true pioneer who helped shape women's MMA in the UFC. There's no way you haven't seen her fight. She actually holds the record for most fights in women's strawweight division. She's relentless, she's charismatic, and she's a certified fan favorite. You'll see exactly why. This is Angela Hill. So you said you're taking off this week.
Did I? Well,
It's an off week?
well, yeah, I haven't really gotten back into training. I just fought November 15th, and usually I jump right back in, but this is the first year in a long time that I've gotten to do 3 in a row. So, or 3 in a year, 3 fights in a year. So this time I was like, you know what, it's perfect timing. Thanksgiving is like in a couple weeks, and then Christmas, and then New Year's. So I'm just going to take the rest of the year off and get back into it on the 1st.
Yeah. And you've never done that before. You've never taken a break this long.
Not really. There was one time I got kicked out of the gym because I broke my toe before a fight. And so I still fought, but then afterwards I was like, I'm still good. I can, box on the bag or, hit the bike or something. And then my coach was like, no, get the fuck out of here. So that time, I wasn't allowed back into the gym for about a month. And I feel like that was the last time I really took a solid month off of like not doing anything. So this time I'm trying to enjoy it a little more. I wasn't told to take a month off, but I actually wanted to. So it's been good.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I was going to bring up. Like, your fights are always fire. Like, it doesn't matter if you're getting beat, if you're beating the other, you just keep going. Yeah, there's no stop. So I was like, is she like that in real life?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to training, I really love training. I still do. And I've been doing it. I did my first Muay Thai class in 2009. So since then, I've just been hooked. And it's kind of how I got my nickname Overkill, because I was always just trying to beast mode in the gym. Even when I didn't really know what I was doing, I was just going crazy in the gym. And it's just always been one of those kind of addictions for me. Like, I love learning. I love learning how to move my body and learn how to make things look cool. And the more you train, the more you're able to do that kind of effortlessly. So that's why, even after like a win or after a loss, I'm right back in there, because you still have that hunger. Like, oh man, I didn't do this exactly how I wanted to in the fight. Or, oh, I feel like if I knew this move before that fight, I could have pulled it off against that chick, or blah, blah, blah. So once you test yourself, your mind starts going crazy, and you're like, ooh, let me see if I could do this, or let me see if I could do that. And that's kind of the fun of it. And I always tell people that fighting, or at least fight week, is probably the least fun week of being a fighter. But the best
I can
part,
imagine.
yeah, it's just all the stress, all the nerves. You're thinking, oh man, I trained all my life for this one moment, but it's not really true. Like, the best part about fighting is the journey, is the people you meet, the relationships you make, just being able to live a lifestyle where you're kind of your own boss. Not really, but you feel like it, I'm making my own schedule. I if I want to take a month off of work, I can. Like, who's able to do that and still make rent, So
Right.
it's a dream job, but it's also, you have to have that passion. Otherwise you'll end up getting your ass kicked every time you get out there.
Yeah, you have to. So I wonder what, taking off like a month and you've never done it before, what's something you notice? Like, do you notice anything different?
I didn't get fat yet, so that's one thing. I always worry
I
about.
don't think that you have the propensity to get fat. So,
I could get a little chunky. I could get a little thick, like baby thick.
what are we talking? Like 5 pounds?
Yeah. So when I did break my toe and I took that month off, I think it might have been like 2 months, but I had to take it easy. And when I got to the gym, I feel like I only gained weight in my butt. Like it was like butt and gut. So I had like a little duck body going on, but from the right angles, it was cute. But
Yeah.
but from the wrong angles, I was like, oh my God, I need to get back to the gym. So yeah.
Did you feel it? Did you feel like,
Oh yeah, I felt
oh
heavier.
man, my kicks are there's a little chunk back there to
Yeah. That's
pull up.
power.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one nice thing about it is like you hit harder. When I throw a kick, it moves my pad
Yep.
holder when I have that extra like, extra junk in the trunk. But
Yeah.
you can only throw a few and then get tired. So that's the
Right, right.
trade-off.
Yep. Yeah. So do you notice anything like your body's healing better mentally? Like what are you learning taking off this long?
I get that drive, like I think when I do go back to back to back, it's easy to get burnt out.
Yeah.
And when I take a little bit of time off, even if it's just a week from training, I start to get that hunger again. And I want to go back and it doesn't feel like a chore again. And that's the part that I like. But also, it's good to just wake up late and just do all the things that you've been putting off. Like there's a ton of stuff. We moved into a new house a year ago and there's a ton of rooms that aren't unpacked. If I showed you the rest of this room, there's boxes everywhere.
We're in the same boat right now,
Yeah.
so I get it.
Yeah, and it feels like you never have time to do anything these days, but
Totally.
with this time off, I've been able to rest, but also start chipping away at little things that I wanted to do. Finally rearranged like my bedroom so it looks nice. It doesn't look like we're squatting,
Yeah.
So little stuff like that has been really nice. And then, every now and then I still feel those nagging injuries. So it reminds
Mm.
me that like I needed that break because
Yeah.
I've had busted fingertips for 2 months. Like every time I reach for something and my fingers are kind of pointed straight, I'll get a sharp shock of pain. And
Mm.
it doesn't sound like a lot, like, oh, my fingertips hurt. But if you're in a sport where you're grabbing and pulling and like throwing your hands at people, then it can really be annoying. So little
Yeah.
stuff like that, like nagging injuries are starting to heal up. I can still feel them when I try to do something. Like I was helping a friend move the other day and I'm like, oh yeah, my bicep is still really tight. But but it's I feel like it's a well needed rest.
Yeah, that's something that like nobody really hears about watching UFC. Like I feel like the fans don't see, especially the fans who don't train, they
Mhm.
don't see how terrible it is to train with injuries.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you had to fight with like serious injuries before, and like how do you get through that?
It never feels serious, but I think that could be like my brain telling me to stop being a little bitch, like like that's the MMA mindset. You
Yeah.
you, you suck it up, and you go in there and you do what you got to do, no matter what. And I've never had anything, but I feel like I've never had anything serious, like never like a broken hand or a meniscus tear or anything like that.
Mm.
Knock on wood. But I know a lot of people who have, and they just grit through it. And like I think the worst thing was the broken toe that I had. Um, I forget how I did it. I think I threw a kick or something at someone and kicked them right in the elbow and broke my toe like a few weeks before a fight, and I couldn't run. I had to do all my cardio on the bike. I had to do all my pad work with shoes on. And I don't think it made a huge difference on fight night, but you always think like, man, if I could have pushed a little harder, maybe I could have done more in the fight. Like in the fight, I didn't feel it because your adrenaline's
Right.
going. You're not thinking about your toe when you're trying to punch him in the face or even kick him
Yeah.
in the face. But you always wonder, like, man, if I was just 100%, and it's almost never the case. Like you're almost never 100% when you get out there. Like a lot of fighters, they don't talk about injuries, especially
Yep.
after they lose, because they don't want to make an excuse. The only time you really hear about like a bad injury a fighter had is when they win, because then it's like, oh, I had
Yeah. Yeah.
a, I broke
Right.
everything and I still knocked the guy out, and it's a cool story. But, as soon as you try to explain how you were feeling on a bad night, then people want to jump on you and say, "Oh, you're making
You make an
excuses for
excuse. Yeah.
that." And
Yeah.
it's like, really, a lot of people are going in there injured. It's not always a FBI conspiracy or anything like that. A lot of times it's just fighters being hard-headed, needing the money, thinking they could still win, or even going into a fight and being like, hey, no matter what happens, I could use my fight insurance to pay for this surgery that I need to get.
Mm. Yeah. So I'm wondering, taking this time off, have you is your identity wrapped up in fighting as a fighter, or are you able to separate the two? Like, no, here's who I am outside of the ring, here's who I am, you know, for my career.
I think before I felt like they were two different people, like me the fighter and me the person. But now that I've been there for so long, like I have somebody wrote it down the other day. I forget how much it was, but I have like maybe 27 UFC fights, 27 or 28. And once you get to that point, you kind of realize that everything's just yeah, everything's just perception. So if you only have seen me in fight mode, like if you've only watched videos of me fighting or doing interviews about a fight or something like that, then maybe you'll see a certain side of me. But if you
Mm-hmm.
look at my Instagram, if you hang out with me, if you go to the same gym as me, like you see that I'm kind of the same person. And one kid came up to me recently and he was like, "Oh man, every time I see your videos online, I wonder if you're the same way in person." And you are, because we were at the gym and I was just shooting the shit with sorry, I'm cursing a lot, but
It's
just
okay.
hanging out with my other teammates and just like training and having a good time and being goofy. And I think that's just me. And it's hard to not be that. Like, when I first started, getting a little bit of notoriety, and I was in the UFC, then I got cut and I went to Invicta. And
Mm-hmm.
one way for me to kind of get over that part was doing cosplay, because it was kind of like a thing, like a trend that the Invicta girls would do. Invicta FC is like an all-female MMA promotion, if you ever heard of it.
Yeah.
And it's where a lot of the most famous like female fighters got their start. So when I was in Invicta, they had this thing where they would dress up for weigh-ins, and I think it started on Halloween. And the owner of Invicta, Shannon Knapp, she dressed up as Dana White. So it was kind of like a green light for all the girls, like, oh man, we could get real crazy with it.
Yep.
So when I did my first one, I was big into video games, still am. And I dressed up as like a Fallout character, like Vault Dweller. So I was real stoked when they came out with that show on Prime. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's my shit. Like I
I'm right
wanted to do,
here. If you
yeah,
guys need
right.
a
Wearing my jumpsuit.
yeah.
But that was my first cosplay, and I was able to just kind of get into character when I had to do the face off and everything and look mean. And that's always been the most awkward part for me, because I'm not a mean person. Like I'm the first one to
Mm.
like invite you to go get a beer after a fight, and like it's just one of those things where that allowed me to separate my fight persona from my actual persona. Um And then, of course, when I'm in the cage, I'm trying to beat your ass, but I do that if you're my bestie too. So
Yeah,
it's not
right.
really a deviation from how I really am in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard for people to watch UFC and not think, "Oh, this is just people angry who are just wanting to beat each other up." And they don't realize like, no, this is a sport. Like
Hmm.
people in tennis don't want to hurt each other. They just want to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So cosplay, what was like is it cosplay play? Is that how you say it? Cosplay,
Yeah, cosplay
right?
like
Because I've never even talked about it. So it's like for me to hear it, like I kind of know what it is, but
how
I'm
can
like,
you not talk about it? Aren't you an actor? Don't you guys do it for a living?
yeah, yeah. But I've never went to the like. Did you go to the?
Comic-Con and
Yeah, that
well, I'm in San Diego, so I kind of always just walk by it when it's in town. The
in
first
character or just walked by.
a couple times. Once I convinced my girl, well, twice I've convinced a handful of my girlfriends to dress up as Street Fighter characters one year, and then we did
You just saw the
final.
trailer came out, right?
Oh, did it for
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
For a game or a movie?
For a movie.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I hope it's good.
Yeah, it's on 50 Cent's Instagram.
What? Okay, I'll
Yeah.
go check it out. Is he
Yeah, you have to
Balrog?
check it out. I think so. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's cool.
He
Okay.
looks mean.
Oh yeah, nice,
Yeah.
nice. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. So you got your girls to dress up as Street Fighter and they did it?
Yeah, yeah, they had a lot of fun too. A little alcohol always helps, but so
Always.
sometimes I help them with their costumes, but they did a good job. And then another year we did Final Fantasy VII. So that
Oh,
one was really
nice.
fun, and I was
That's
able to
cool.
do Barrett with the minigun hand cannon, and I made it move. I put a drill in like the weapon that I built, so
That's
when I would
smart.
pull the trigger, it would move like a little minigun. So we had a
Nice.
lot of fun with that. Yeah.
That's cool. And you did all this yourself?
I mean, well, yeah, I did my costume myself, and I'd help the girls, but they were really good at like crafting their own like things too. I forget what I helped out. I think I helped with the sword, with the I forget what you call it, the big sword that Cloud has. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm not even going to say, like, is it
we're
a
gonna get
katana? What
roasted
is
for
it?
not.
I
No,
know for not knowing.
it's called something silly, but yeah, it was fun. It was like a
Yeah.
mini version too, but
That's awesome.
we had a
So
good
were
time.
all your friends fighters or are they like just all walks of life?
Yeah, all fighters. One was my coach's wife, Sid. She was a bodybuilder at the time, but she's big, tall, gorgeous woman, so she made a great Cloud. And yeah,
Cloud. What's
yeah,
is that like a character that I don't know? A
yeah.
Cloud?
Oh my gosh. Okay, you're
Oh,
definitely getting
geez.
arrested then. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah.
Roast me. Bring it on.
Cloud was the main character of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah.
So
See, I've never played Final Fantasy. I've never watched it.
ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing about me. I'm a big gaming nerd. So not nerd. I
I'm
feel like I
I'm a
just
huge
play a
gaming
lot.
nerd. Yeah, I'm a big gamer, but I just don't like there's certain games I didn't play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I probably
Yeah.
played like a game you never heard, Vector
Oh
Man.
yeah. I never
Oh
played that.
yeah, okay. I thought you said, "Oh yeah, you know it." Yeah,
No,
that was just
I'm
like
like, yeah, that's the way I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, and now my daughter's like a huge gamer. Oh my
What kind of
gosh.
game is that?
Vector? That was from no, Sega. It was a
Okay.
old Sega game. But I got this little retro pie. Do you know, have you ever heard of a retro pie?
Is that like one of those little guys that's an emulator?
Yeah, yeah. So it's
Okay.
got all the, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Gen, all of that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so I got that and she's into it, but she's also into like PlayStation,
Oh.
Uncharted. She just started
Ooh.
Need for Speed.
Oh.
She's always asking me to play Call of Duty. We played God of War together,
Nice.
She said her first F word during God of War when she was like
Ah!
4. It
Oh,
was
I love
hilarious.
it. I
Yeah,
love you and your daughter playing God of War together. That's
it was really cool. But there was a
sweet.
part of me like, should I be playing this in front of her? Because he's like ripping people's heads off and stuff, and I'm like
Funny.
looking at her, and she's like, "Yeah, come on, Dad." It's pretty
Rip
funny.
it off faster. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So what were you like as a child? What was your childhood? Like, were you
Um,
outgoing? Were you quiet? Were you
yeah, definitely not outgoing. I was kind of weird. My
define weird? Let's hear it.
I felt like, well, I had two older brothers, and they were both pretty popular, I think. I was like not so much like we were watching Stranger Things, and I felt like I could relate a lot to the kids in Stranger Things, but just really quiet, kind of artsy. Like I like to draw a lot. I like to just make things in my room. A lot of my toys were things that I made myself. Like I would cut things out of paper and make little houses and stuff out of them. My mom used to get mad because I would make potions and then leave them under my bed. And then there's all those
Potions?
nasty, like old juices and stuff under my bed because I thought I was, doing something fun, doing something, witchy. But I feel like,
That's funny.
yeah, I was always into like adventuring, and I like to read a lot of like, sci-fi books and stuff like that. And I was just kind of in my own head. Like, I didn't really get into boys for a long time. So like for a long time, my mom thought I was gay, but really I was just like, I was just still a kid, like I felt like I
Yeah.
stayed in that kid area of my brain for a long time up until like middle school. And then I started, making different connections with that, and liking guys, and just like doing like the teen stuff. But I feel like I was in that like kind of whimsical kid area for a long time, and I was really quiet, and I didn't like really show my personality to a lot of people, but my close friends, like they were like my core group, like my kick it crew is what we called it back then. And those are the people who actually kind of saw who I was. But for
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, I was pretty quiet and introverted, and it wasn't until I got to college that I started like actually opening up and being more. I felt like I kind of got forced to be outgoing, and it's kind of something
By who? What do you mean?
just by society. like
Okay.
one of my first jobs was drawing caricatures at Six Flags. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was something that just kicked me out there, and it was like, if you are more outgoing, you make more money. Like if you can get more people
Mm,
into your seat and draw pictures of them and make them like it, then you can make money. And like I could draw, but I was still really self-conscious drawing in front of people. So it was one of those things that really just forced me out of my shell a lot faster than I think I would have if I didn't work that job. And yeah, I think that was a good precursor to going to college in New York. New York brings it out of you too. Like you
for
have to be
sure.
outgoing, you have to be
Yep.
assertive, otherwise people just take advantage of you, or walk all over you, or just like, rob you. So
Well,
so
you said you were weird in high school or in like when you were young. But I wonder, like, is that something that you felt or the world told you or kids told you? Because you just said two different things. Like you were self-conscious when you were drawing characters. So I wonder if that was like something that you were kind of perceiving in your own mind, that you were weird and really like you were just a cool kid, but you were kind of afraid to branch out. Does that make sense?
yeah, I just knew
Or
that
you kept to yourself?
a lot of my interests weren't the same as like my friends at the time. And so I would keep them to myself for sure. Cause I'd be
Gotcha.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm into this, like, I like this, I really like watching this cartoon over and over again. And everyone else is watching like, music videos, and
Yeah.
I'm still watching cartoons and being a kid and that kind of thing. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of kids grew up a lot faster than I did. And I went to, like, I don't a lot of people assume I went to, like, or I grew up in a white neighborhood because of the way I talk, but I grew up in PG County, which is like all black suburb, and one of the few that existed at the time, like in the 90s. And I feel like, a lot of black kids, like, they grow up faster, like they're
Mm.
like, forced into maturity a lot faster. And I was kind of sheltered, so I was able to just like be in that kid zone for a long time. But even still, like, my mom would think it was funny that I didn't like playing with dolls. I like playing with trucks, or I didn't, want to wear a dress. I wanted to wear pants and go adventuring in the woods, like little stuff like that. And, I was never really like, I remember having a birthday party, and I wanted to play with like my new toys, and all the other girls were watching music videos and dancing to them. And I'm like, oh,
This is terrible. This is the
I don't
worst.
know this song.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
more TV. We're playing kickball, like.
Yep.
So I definitely felt like I was I was more stuck in my imagination for a longer time, and there's that part of being a kid that you wish you had when you get older, like that optimism and that like big imagination, and always imagining like what you can be or what you can do, or making up fantasy worlds where like you're thinking of like where you could go if you were an astronaut, or if you were, exploring in some unknown place, and little stuff like that. I was really into that kind of stuff. I like to write a lot too. I like to, read, read. There's this book that my husband makes fun of me for because I was obsessed. I was obsessed with it, but it was called Raptor Red. And it was
Mm.
really like one of those smut novels, but it was about a family of raptors.
Wow. Like we're talking about dinosaurs.
Yes,
Raptors.
yes.
Okay.
Like I read Jurassic Park and The Lost World, and then I read Raptor Red, and I was obsessed with Raptor Red. And it was just about this raptor that was traveling around, and it had a family, and then like its sister like stole her man, and then she had to kill her. And it was like a lot of it was just really silly, but at the time, I thought it was a masterpiece.
I mean, you're selling it. I kind of want to read
Hey,
it
you
now.
should read Raptor Red. If you're into like smut and raptors, then you'll love it.
This is your thing. That was a good
Yeah.
sales pitch.
Yeah, thanks. Oh man.
So PG County, what is that? What's PG County? Where is that?
Prince George's County is in the DMV, so the DC, Maryland, Virginia circle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're in San Diego, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
in
was
San Diego.
thinking West Coast right now. Okay, so it's on the East
Yeah.
Coast.
Yeah,
So
so
you
it's on the
you
East
grew up in the
Coast.
East Coast.
Mhm.
All right, so you know cold weather.
Yes. I
Yeah.
don't miss
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly. I know, me neither.
Yeah, it's like 80 degrees today. And
And
I'm
it's
gonna
like 8 there.
I know. I'm gonna go visit my mom. Is it next week? Yeah, next week. And it's about 32, so it's right on the cusp. Could snow, could
Yeah.
not snow, but
Yep.
yeah, I
So
don't
your
miss
mom
it.
still lives there.
Yeah, my mom lives in Maryland. Most of my family lives in Maryland still, Maryland and DC.
Yeah. So when you were a kid, you said your mom was, was she wasn't really concerned about you. She was just like, yeah, great. This is who you are.
Yeah, she loved it. She loved that I was different,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there was a period where I would wear all these dresses and only play with dolls, and I was very girly, and I think she almost felt like I was a
Putting it
little,
on.
I was different. Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I think for a while she was like, "Wow, I'm so surprised at how girly my daughter is because I'm not like that." And then my real personality came out, and she was like, "Oh, all right,
Okay. There you are.
that
There you are.
tracks." Yeah.
Quit playing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
But she always supported everything I did. I always give her a ton of credit because no matter what wild like left field thing that I wanted to do, she would support it. So when I
mm,
said I wanted to be an artist and not like I think my first profession I would say is I want to be a veterinarian because I love pets. So I would always say that. Then I wanted to be an artist. And when I made that like kind of left turn, she was like, "Hey, you'll see. You
okay.
might not make money, but you'll be
Yeah.
happy. I see how
Yep.
happy you are drawing. So let's
Oh,
do
that's
it."
sweet. That's sweet.
And then when I got out of art school and I said I wanted to be a fighter, she was like, "Okay. I mean, this is a little hard to take, but you seem happy, so
Well, that I was
okay."
gonna ask that. Like, what did your mom think about you starting to fight?
I mean, at first I kind of eased her in because at first it was a hobby. So, when I did my first class, I said it was 2009, and it was right after the recession hit. So I had just graduated art school, and I was
In New
in
York.
training in New York. Yeah.
Okay.
I went to Cooper Union, and it's like, it's kind of one of a kind. It has art, architecture, and engineering. And if you get
Mm,
into the school, you have a full ride. Like it's free tuition. You'll still probably have to take out a loan. Like I still had student loans for like books and living and everything, but
yeah.
you don't have to pay a tuition if you get in. They only accept maybe
Wow.
60 people a year, 60 freshmen a year in each school if I'm or in each major.
So
So
what'd you have
yeah,
to do to get accepted?
you have to do I'm not sure for architecture and engineering, but for art you have to have a full portfolio. And then they send you like a homework and you have to do the homework. So you
So
have
you
to,
had a full portfolio of art,
yeah.
like painting. What are you talking?
Like painting, drawings, still lives, figures,
Oh, that's right.
things.
I did see some of your drawing
Oh
on your
yeah?
Insta. Yeah, it's
Oh,
really
cool.
good.
Oh,
Really
thanks.
good. Yeah,
I
I was
mean,
like,
I
wow.
feel
See,
like I
that's
used to be better, but I'm out of practice now. But thank you. I
okay.
appreciate it.
You haven't been drawing or anything.
No, it's hard to just pick up, and then a lot of times when I do draw, I don't like showing it because again, is I'm out of practice. I still feel like I could pick it up whenever I wanted to. Like if I wanted to just go crazy and just create for a year, I feel like I could still do that. But I definitely would only show the best stuff.
I gotta know, like, what do you think that is that you don't want to show? Because from what I've seen, I'm like, oh my God, like if I could draw like that, I'd go around being like, yeah, I drew this. I drew, yep, that was me.
I mean, that's just an artist, you know. Like
Yeah.
most people don't want to show their work, even if it's a masterpiece. Like my husband, for example, his doodles look like they could be hung in the Louvre, but like he's never
Mm.
gonna show it to you, you know, because he's like, no, this is shit. And it's kind of like this
Is it a
thing.
vulnerability that you're actually pouring out into the drawings?
I think it's just a feeling of it's not perfect. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
it's a little different. Like vulnerability, I feel like if I'm putting my all into something and it's saying a lot about me or saying a lot about something that I'm trying to convey and it's not something that I'm ready for the world to see, that would be one thing. But a lot of times it's just like I I like where this is going, but it's not ready yet. It's like if you're a director and you have your final cut, but you're only going to show a small amount of people because you don't want everyone to get eyes on this thing yet until it's
mm,
perfect. So
hmm.
it's kind of more like that than
So it's
anything.
kind of like, would you say, if this is a proper way to put it, like it's like a baby and you're like,
Mhm.
don't touch it's brand new.
Yeah.
It's just born.
We're still working on
You
it.
have diseases. I don't want
Yeah.
don't touch this. Yeah.
Don't smudge it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But I do have confidence in like my drawing ability and everything. I would like to do something creative eventually. It's just I want to be able to focus on it if I really set my mind to doing something. Like I've always thought about making art that has to do with like my experiences in MMA or
I
doing
was
like
gonna say
yeah, or doing
that's
some kind
exactly
of
what I
like
was thinking.
and when I was working after school, I was working in an animation studio. So that was kind of my goal is to become an animator, to like work on big projects like that or even work on video games, something like that, where like my dream job was to go I was playing I think it was Grand Theft Auto 4, maybe 3. It might have been 3 that was out at the time, but like I would go to the mall and look at the wall, look at the textures. I'm like, man, I could be the
Wow.
person doing that, you know?
I was the guy running right by, like, who can I hit?
Yeah. But just you don't appreciate that whole
Right.
environment that's
Yeah.
built for you in these games until you don't
It's
have
true.
it, until you
Yep.
play something that's kind of low budget and you're like, oh, this looks a little flat. You know, it
Yep.
looks like
Yep.
a Cybertruck, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
And
Minecraft.
yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh, okay, I can appreciate the difference because they put a lot of effort, a lot of art goes into making games like that, you know, even package design for all the fake products that they have and the graphic design for the posters and everything and the textures of a lot of that stuff is like auto-generated now, but like back
Yeah.
then it was all made by people. So that was like
I
one of my dream jobs.
yeah, I think people are gonna start really appreciating things that are made by real humans.
Yeah. I like
I think that's gonna happen.
I like to compare the AI thing to like CG. You know how people got real crazy with
Yeah.
CG when it
Yep.
wasn't really that good yet.
Yep.
The good CG has a lot of like human manipulation going on with it. And then like a lot of people are going back to prosthetics too to really
Mm-hmm.
get that feel of something is there in the scene. So I feel like there's like even though I don't think AI is going to go away, I feel like eventually there will be a balance where you're still getting people in that are going to make it feel like something and not just
Mm-hmm.
an amalgamation of algorithms.
Yeah. So that's something that you're really interested in moving towards when you phase out of fighting? Is that
Yeah,
something that you
I think the biggest interest for me is to open up a gym. So I
mm,
think that's like my biggest goal. Because I like to teach and anytime I'm showing a teammate something that I think they'd be good at and then they hit it, you know, they hit it in training or they hit it in a fight, like the joy that that brings is something that, you know, I could be 80 in doing that and
yep.
it'll still like bring a little tear to my eye. So I feel like and Adam, my husband Adam, he's a great coach. He's like the only person I trust and I feel like I want to be able to give that to other people, you know. So that's our
Mm-hmm.
goal is to open up a little mom and pop gym. And we had all sorts of like dreams like we would have loved to have our own bar. I think in San Diego it's a little tough because you know, money. But
Yeah.
but like having our own bar was also a dream. We wanted to have like a bar with a little hidden gem in the back, and so you everything would be fight themed, and like you could watch MMA fights in Asia at 2 a.m. there, or you could watch
Mm,
you know the wrestling trials, Olympic wrestling trials going on like all day. You could watch anything that's martial arts related. You could go to that bar and watch it. And so that was like another idea we had. But I think the biggest one for us right now is open up a gym because we have a lot of information, you know, we have a lot of
yeah.
experience between the two of us.
Yeah.
I've been in there a lot. He's coached me in there like most of my career. So that's something that I feel like we'd be really good at.
That'd be awesome. What something that I've always said is like, so you have high schools, they have sports, football, right? You're just like
Uh,
nailing each other in the head to head. Why not do Muay Thai in high schools? I mean,
yeah,
I feel like kids need that.
they're doing it in some countries, like I think in Guam, Brandon Vera, he hit me up and they're starting programs in Guam doing like Muay Thai and different kinds of martial arts. And I know I think in Abu Dhabi, they do like jujitsu out there in
Mm,
schools. And I think in the Philippines, that's where Brandon Vera started doing that, like started running those programs, like the Muay Thai and different kind of like MMA programs for high school athletes. I feel like it's good.
I do too.
I feel
I
like
do
it's
too.
a good idea, but the
Yeah.
violence is always that thing that people get scared of, you know, like I
Yeah.
you don't even
Yeah, they
see MMA in sports commercials right now. Like
right.
it's rare that you see MMA in something unless it's a product that is sponsoring an MMA show like a Prime Energy or something like that. But if you're watching, I don't know, like active tampon commercial, you rarely see
Definitely not in that one.
you don't see MMA when it's probably the one you need it the most for. Like that's
Knock out that period with Tampax, right?
Yes, exactly. Oil check that period. I don't know. That's too far, but you know what I mean. You have
No,
the right
yeah,
idea.
that's yeah. I mean, hey, look, with all the information you have and the art, you could make it. You could make that
I
commercial.
can storyboard it out real nice.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
uh,
So going back to Maryland, right? Or
yes.
yeah, so going back to Maryland, um, siblings, was it just you and your mom? Was dad who was in the picture when you were growing up?
Me and my two older brothers, I have, my oldest brother, Mark, he's 7 years older than me. And then my second older brother, Brian, is 5 years older than me. And, our dad was there, he was there the whole time, but they got divorced when I was 5. So he
Mm,
was always around and we had our weekends with our dad and stuff. And, yeah, that was fine. But, my mom did like a lot of the heavy lifting with like the, tough love and the working long hours and teaching us right from wrong and all that stuff and I really like she's like my hero, like
mm,
she the only reason I want to have kids still is because I want to pass on what she passed to me and show that I could be as good as a mom that she was. I feel like she really set me up for success because if I didn't have someone, telling me that I had to work hard and telling me that, telling me the way the world was, but also giving me props and saying, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're talented,
mm.
anything you want to do, like just put your mind to it. Every time you put your mind to something, it works out. Like she instilled so much confidence in me. And for maybe it's because I was so shy and so introverted, but she just didn't allow me to second guess myself. She always
That's important.
and I do think I was really confident because of that. Like, yeah, I wasn't like super social, but I believed in myself and I would go headfirst into whatever random harebrained idea I had and completely, pull it off. So I feel like she had a huge part in that. I don't know if I'd be as confident if it wasn't for her.
What did she do for a living?
She worked at ARP. And she was, it's kind of hard to remember what she did, but she basically did trainings and she taught, the people who worked for AARP about the different, I guess, features that they had with AARP, which was like a insurance company. So she would say, "Oh, you guys need to make sure that you have like you have a bathroom with these different things in there. And you have to make sure the light switches at this height. And then she would like tell the people all these things about this program that they're in. And she would travel a lot for that. So she would go to different states. A lot of times she would bring me. So I got to go
Oh,
to
wow.
Hawaii a couple times because she would have conferences in Hawaii. I got to, yeah, travel to a few different places. And one of my favorite stories of hers was that she was doing a training somewhere. I forget where, but she had this really nice black and white outfit, like this really cute black and white like suit, and she thought she looked so like so professional and everything. And she gets to this place, and I forget where it was, but it was definitely like, somewhere not very black. And she's at her conference and she's setting everything up. And people kept asking her, like, oh, do you know where the bathroom is? And she tell them, and they're like, oh, do you know where I could get some water? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And then she starts the meeting, she starts the conference, and everyone looks shocked. And then she realizes that they thought she was a maid for the conference.
Oh,
And,
man.
like, that's such a my mom's story because she just never, she always expects the best in people. Like, she's very, like, she has
Mm,
that same optimism that I inherited, where she's always like, uh, just kind of oblivious to things until it hits her right in the face. And then she's like,
hmm.
oh, that makes sense, but
Oh,
yeah, but she was always like really cool about that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
like, hey, that's just the way the world is. I mean, this is the 90s that I'm talking about when that happened. So, or it might have even been, no, it was definitely the 90s. But it's just one of those things where she was a pioneer, she was probably the first person of color that they saw running things at a conference.
Hmm.
So it's kind of cool that she was able to handle that in such a professional way. And then she passed that on to me. And, I didn't mean to, but I ended up being a pioneer too.
Yep.
It's just that mindset of you could do whatever you want. Like, you don't need someone else to like write out the game plan for you. Like, you can go in there and just take what you want. If you want to be a fighter, you can do that. If you want to be an artist, you can do that. And I ended up being the first Black woman in the UFC.
Yep.
And now I'm the last. Well, hopefully not the last forever, but
Yeah.
but at least Black American. So I'm hoping that just my presence is gonna get more girls to sign up at the gym and pursue like, whatever sport they're into. And that's the wild thing about MMA, even though you see a lot of people getting into it with like poor backgrounds, it's an expensive sport.
Yeah.
Like to get a jiu-jitsu membership, like
Yeah.
that's even somewhere where, the cost of living is kind of low, that's still like a good $100 a month,
Hmm.
and at least out here it's like 150. And then you have to learn everything else. Muay Thai,
Yep.
boxing, wrestling is a huge one. If you didn't grow up with in a high school with a good wrestling program, you're going to be behind once you start
Hmm.
learning how to sprawl, so it's one of those things where it hasn't been very inviting to, I guess, Black women in the US. And now I feel like it's changing. The more you see people being successful and the more you see it actually being a career and not a pipe dream, I think you're going to get that influx of more athletes from more diverse like upbringings and backgrounds
Yep.
and have them coming in. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about the future. And every now and then I'll get one of those messages where someone will be like, "Oh, I saw you doing this and it inspired me to actually like go to the gym for the first time," or I never saw anyone that looked like me until I saw you fighting, and now I'm even more inspired to get in there. And I feel like that like I didn't set out to do it. I did it on accident, and it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, it's strange that you just went into that because I was going to ask I was going to ask that, like, did you even know when you first started that, whoa, there's a good possibility I may be the first Black woman in the UFC? Did that even cross your mind, or was it just like once you were there, you
No.
were like, oh,
Yeah. Well, no, because like I saw like other dark skinned women,
yeah,
in the UFC. So I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not the first one. And it wasn't even like a thing that I thought about. It was just like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And then when I ended up getting on the Ultimate Fighter, they had a little, I guess, like media row thing where all the girls sat in a chair and the reporters would walk around and talk to us. And Mark Raimondi is one of the guys who is the guy who came up to me and was like, "Hey, so how's it feel being the first African American woman in the UFC?" And I was like, "Me? Are you sure?"
wow. So it hit you like
Yeah.
total surprise.
Yeah, and it's not like I could
Wow.
call people about it because at that point we had no phones. We were on that kind of media lockdown where you can't
Yep.
contact people outside of your bubble because you're in a reality TV show. So
Yeah.
so it just kind of hit me and I just had to sit with it by myself. Like it was a weird kind of feeling.
Mm.
But it didn't change
What did that
anything.
feel like? What was the feeling?
Pressure, I think. Pressure,
Wow.
but pressure with no outlet. Like I could tell the girls on the show, but we're all competing against each other. So it's not like
Right.
they're gonna be happy for me. Like, oh, cool, you
Yeah.
have this extra reason to beat me up, you know? But
Right. And now you're a bit different, and people might be looking at you and not me.
yeah, exactly. And I was definitely a dark horse on the show. Like I only had one professional MMA fight and it happened 2 days before the tryouts. So I didn't expect to get picked when I went out there. I just went out because I was doing that thing that my mom always told me to do, like just go and do, just try, do your
Wait,
best.
so,
See what
so you went
happens.
out there not even being like, probably not going to get picked, but let's just go have fun.
Yeah, exactly. And
Wow.
and I got picked. I was like, oh,
Wow.
cool. It was a networking networking mission and I ended up getting the job. So yeah, I
So
was pretty stoked.
let walk me through that, just because like there's so many people who haven't heard this story, and maybe you never told this story, but what was did you get a call? Did you see a tryout? Like from start to finish, how did that
Okay.
happen? The interview process and everything.
So I was still training in New York. I started in New York and I had a handful of Muay Thai fights. I had given up on getting amateur MMA fights because like I couldn't, like people wouldn't want to fight me because I was 14-0 in Muay Thai. So I just went pro. And once you go pro, I've seen people go back and forth, but like my understanding was once you go pro in Muay Thai or boxing or whatever, you can't go back to amateur and do like an MMA fight.
Mm.
So I just gave that up and I went pro in Muay Thai. And after I went pro, I heard that they were doing tryouts for a lower weight class. They had already done the tough with Ronda Rousey on it at
Mm-hmm.
I think she was on it. But yeah, they already done the all female tough at 135 and then I was like, okay, when they announced that they were going to do 115, I was like, oh, all right, I only have to gain a few pounds. I was fighting between like 105 and 110 at the time. And when they were doing 115, I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. So I needed at least one fight to try out. Usually you need at least 3 fights in order to try out, and you have to have a winning record. But because I guess there weren't that many women out there who were willing to try out, they
Mm.
had to lower it. So the minimum you can have is one fight, but it has to be a win. So I was trying to get that first MMA fight. And eventually I was able to go to a gym in North Carolina and this coach was like, I'm gonna get you to the tryouts. I'll get you a fight. I'll get you to the tryouts and we'll make it happen. We'll get you to try out on Tough and hopefully you get to be on Tough. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went to this gym in North Carolina, trained. We were able to, the fights kept falling through, but we were able to get a fight booked 2 days before the tryouts. So
Wow.
this is kind of like make or break. Like I had to go in there and
Just
win
don't
this
lose.
fight. Yeah, just don't lose. And you can go to the tryouts. And I probably would have gone to the tryouts if I lost.
Yeah.
But we had the tickets booked already. So it was just like, just go out there and do what you gotta do. And it kind of worked out because it was a girl that I was supposed to fight at 105 and then she pulled out. So we were able to make the fight happen at 115. And so I fought her, I beat her, and then, and I got a knockout. So that was pretty cool. And
Nice.
then, 2 days later, we flew out to the tryouts and yeah, it was funny because I was in there doing my interviews with my black eye from the fight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just happy I won so I could be here. And they had like a grappling section, which I did well in. I was able to stay on top of the girl. I didn't sub her, but I was able to like out grapple the girl that I had to grapple in that part. And then they had like the striking section, which is just us doing pad work. So I had my,
Okay.
yeah, so I had my old my Muay Thai coach come down there with me and we hit pads and we did the whole like 10 kicks right, 10 kicks left, hit
Yep.
hard as fast as you can, as hard and fast as you can. And they were just like, Angela, okay, you're good. You can stop.
Wow.
And yeah, and then Dana White had like really high praise. I mean, he's like, out of the men and women, that's like one of the best striking sessions that I've ever seen. And I was just like, Dana, stop. And even though I knew I had like a good showing, we had to do interview portions too. And with reality TV, they want to see personality. So
Right.
so I pulled out my whole like caricature artist, like act and gave him a show or whatever. But I was pretty sure that because of my experience, I wasn't going to get in. And I knew there were only 8 spots on the show because they had pre-picked the first 8 women that were going to be on there, and they were all people that I knew, all people that like I had watched and been fans of. And then the other 8 was out of the 50 girls who showed up. So I'm like, no way I'm getting on this. And then I got a call and they said, you're on the show. So yeah.
I could see like you still, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean I mean, like I said with the college thing, it's one of those things that where it's like you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but I kind of did with
Yeah.
that one. I put all my eggs in that one college. I'm like, if I don't get into this college, I'm not paying for art school. It's too expensive. And I was able to get in, and it's like 60 out of however hundreds, thousands of kids
Wow.
who applied. I was one of them. So I always had this feeling that if I just put my foot to the gas and I just did it as hard as I could and just put all my energy and passion into it, then people would see that and
Yeah.
they would respond to it. And it was kind of that feeling again, being able to get on the show with all that. With all those kind of hits against my name, they still wanted to have me on there. So I thought that was cool.
That is cool. So there's this high of getting on the show. And then once you got on the show, how did that feel? Was there like a moment of like you were excited the whole time, or was it like, oh, this is not what I thought it would be?
I was really excited the whole time. I think the only moment that I felt like, it was when I lost. And it kind of sucked because, I felt set up like, and it's just the way it works, like in tournaments and everything. I was the final seed because I had the least amount of fights, least amount of experience. And I had to fight the number 1 seed who ended up winning the show. And he was champion at 115 in Invicta already. She had already had a handful of fights, really good wrestler, Carla Esparza. So up until we fought, I thought I was going to knock her out. Yeah. Like I was training with my team. I was on team Melendez. I was doing really well in the striking department and the grappling department. I felt really good, and all my teammates were just like, "Man, I can't believe you just started MMA. Like imagine how good you're going to be after you get a few fights under your belt." So I had like a lot of confidence going into that one. And I think at the final, I think once the fight actually happened, I just got humbled, and it was
Mm.
kind of the first time in my fight career that I got humbled. And it was
How
a
so?
tough feeling.
Not physically, but I mean like mentally, what what clicked of like, wow, this is a humbling experience.
I think before I was very judgmental of the striking of a lot of the girls in MMA.
Mm.
And I overlooked the whole category where it's almost the most important is the ground game. And even though I felt good like hanging with most people and avoiding getting submitted by most people, the wrestling part is something that you don't really think about when you're just doing like striking class and then you're doing jiu-jitsu class and then you're doing wrestling class and then you're putting it all together and you're doing all right, you're doing well against most people, but once you hit those special athletes, it's definitely one of those experiences where you're like, ooh, I gotta get better, like I gotta get a lot better. And
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard the blue belt effect a lot, where you get to this point where you know a lot about like jujitsu, let's say, a lot about jujitsu. You recognize all the moves, all the weird moves too, and you think you understand everything about the sport. And then you go right back down to white belt. You get to that next notch and people start
Yeah.
taking you a little more seriously and they actually start like using their jujitsu against you. And you're like, oh man, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I had no idea. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for the listeners who don't who don't really train, like me, I'm complete beginner, but I wrestled my whole high school career. So, I stepped into a 10th Planet gym before and I was like subbing, you know, uh some blue belts, but like
Oh,
but it was all wrestling. Like, it's like something they didn't learn. They weren't around there yet, but then I tried MMA and it was like
like,
somebody took me down and I'm like thinking about wrestling and then all of a sudden I get punched in the face. I'm like, and I literally said to him, I like looked at him like, oh, I forgot we could punch, we could like hit. It is, it's really tough to put it all together. So, I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I'm sure you could say a lot more than I can, but
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And I think you start really enjoying MMA once you figure
yeah.
out the blend, and you figure out just how creative you can be. I think that's why I like MMA a lot out of,
Mm,
any other sport, because there's so much creativity in it. Like you
yeah.
can you can punch anywhere. You can punch off your back, you can punch off your side. You can do
Yeah.
any type of throw. Like you can pick them up any kind of way. Like in Muay Thai, you can't lift their leg and sweep them. Like you have to keep your foot on the ground if you hit a sweep. But sweeps are like a huge part of Muay Thai, but there's so
Hmm.
many rules around it. In boxing, if you guys hug, you can't do anything else. You're not really supposed to hit there,
Yeah.
like if you hug, like you break.
Yep.
There's no pulling the head down. There's no like knees
Foot
or
stomps.
yeah, like there's nothing like that's the end of it. So
You could do
there's
everything but headbutt.
yeah, and when I would go from Muay Thai sparring to boxing sparring, that was my first kind of introduction into, oh man, there's a lot of rules and things, And when you get into MMA, there are very few rules,
Yeah.
Don't kick them in the nuts, don't eye gouge, and keep your fingers out the cage. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's so freeing being able to just figure out a way, any way to beat this person up in front of you. Like is just is a weird thing where it can be overwhelming because of the amount of options, but it can also be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're playing a game, like right now I'm playing Helldivers a lot with my husband, like Helldivers 2, and you have all these different stratagems and stuff that you can pick, like all these different loadouts that you can pick, and each loadout makes you play the game a totally different way. So it's kind of
Mm,
cool because in MMA it's the same way. You
yeah.
pick your loadouts. You're like, I'm gonna put all this energy into this part of my stand up and this part of my grappling and this part of my sub game, and then I'm gonna make sure I have extra cardio when I get in there. Or I'm gonna make sure I'm really strong when I get in there. And you put all those things together, and that affects the way you fight. And it's any gamer I think would be really into MMA just because it gives you all those options and you get to play the game your own way, essentially.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's that. I mean, just talking to other fighters, they're all into some sort of game, Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons.
Oh, nice.
What else? There's been so many games that people are just into that are, like you said, you have to choose your loadouts and everything. So you come at the sport from more of a technical or actually creative, I would say, angle instead of fighting with aggression, would you say?
Um,
Or is there all of it?
I think there's all of it because my first fights were just pure aggression and chaos. It's like
Yeah.
my first fights, I just tried to punch as fast as possible, as hard as possible. And I wasn't really looking for anything. Like I wasn't looking for tells or looking for the openings. I would just go.
Hmm.
I was basically hitting the bag, and hopefully the bag wouldn't hit me back too much. And those were my first fights. And then eventually I started to learn how to blend like the aggression with the experience and start seeing when it was going to be easier to come forward and I'm not going to get that much back, or when I can find an angle and then jump in there as opposed to just running straight into the fire and maybe getting clock on the way in. So yeah, I think with experience, you start to learn how to mesh them together. But then
Hmm.
nowadays, I feel like it can almost be too technical. And I think that comes from just
Yeah.
seeing everything that could happen in the fight, whether it's my fight or a friend's or somebody who I really like who I'm watching, and you see everything that could go wrong in a fight and you almost overthink. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm fighting against the overthinking and trying to go back to that kind of caveman brain where I'm just like, gotta hit hard. That's it. No matter how much my hand hurts from hitting hard, I'm gonna hit harder. And yeah, it's tough. Especially because like the older you get, the more you're aware of your own mortality. You're aware of,
Yeah.
the damage that you can be doing to yourself. I try to think I don't care about the other person, but like every now and then, like after a fight, I'm like, oh, I feel bad for her. Like if
Yeah.
I beat someone up, I'm like, oh, I'll just want to hug her, because I know how it feels.
Yeah.
And I don't think that affects my fighting, but it definitely like makes me think a little differently than I used to. When I would just be like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck that bitch up and like fuck her and her mama, like. It's like, no, not anymore. Like now I want to hug them all and just, have a little party afterwards. But yeah, it's just weird.
When did you notice like the first signs of like is it something that came up like first signs of aggression, like things like feel a feeling inside of you that, or individuality, like when you're a kid and you're just like skating along and you're just like but then you realize like, whoa, I'm a person and I have needs, and here's a need, and here's like, oh, this makes me angry and I'm mad about this and that. When did that pop up? Do you remember?
Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. I think that existential like dread happened pretty early for me. I was always really sensitive as a kid too, like when like an animal would die. My mom always talks about when we went and saw Bambi in theater and I kept asking her what happened to his mom. And all the other kids were just kind of like do do do, like they kind of they did it slick. So only the older kids would actually realize, okay, Bambi's mom died, but the younger kids are just like, there's still rabbits and stuff. And so I kept asking. I was like, Mom, what happened to him, Mama? That's how I said it. It's like how she tells the story. And I kept asking her, and then she like whispered, his mom died. And I was like, his mom died. And she said, I caused a riot. Like I made the entire theater cry because I screamed, his mom died and started crying. And
So that was it. And that's where the fighter came from. That was it.
Yeah. I was a little too aware for my age, I guess.
You're like, oh, I'm hurting whoever killed Bambi's mom.
Yeah, I hate it. Ugh, no more hunting. I can't stand any hunting posts. And I never realized why until now. Thank you. Now I know.
Now you got it's connections are being built here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like was your mom like did your mom have anything to do with fighting?
I she's feisty. Like my mom, you don't mess with my mom. So I feel like I inherited that in a way.
Okay. Okay.
She's definitely like she doesn't let people walk all over, but she's the nicest person in the world. But like you kind of know not to cross her. Like something about her, like maybe she has like a little crazy in her eye or something. But she's one of those I'm sure you've run into one of those people who are super nice, but you know not to cross them.
I live with one.
Oh, nice. Let's go. That's why you know jujitsu now.
Yeah, right.
You got to defend yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's my mom in a nutshell. And I always thought that was really cool about her. And I don't like for whatever reason, I didn't think I had what my mom had growing up. And I think it was just being young and just not.
Are you talking about the feistiness?
Yeah.
Like you didn't have that.
Yeah, I didn't think I had that. Like I felt like, like I would let people like walk all over me, and I felt like I was just very non-confrontational, like I would rather like feel wronged, but at least nothing popped off than to like assert myself and then it becomes a thing. So that was me growing up.
What was your dad like? Was he more of that or?
He was definitely non-confrontational. He would always like find humor, use humor to like, lighten the situation. He was that kind of guy. He was a little scary too, like to strangers, but not to us. Like like we're like, whatever, Dad. But like if a boy came over and my dad was there, he could like scare him off, like, what are you doing with my daughter? And he'd be like, oh, and I'm just like laughing because I'm like, he doesn't even know my dad's just a pushover, But it's funny how that is. Like we were definitely more afraid of my mom than my dad. Like there were times where he was like, you better clean up your room before your mom comes home.
He was scared too.
Yeah, exactly. Please clean your room. So yeah, I wasn't sure if I had that, but I think, when the situations did arise, did pop up where I had to like defend someone or, stand up for myself, I did all right. So I think those are the little moments where I was like, okay, maybe I do have that thing that my mom has, that switch. The crazy switch.
Yeah.
And I really found out once I started fighting. But before that, I was still, more on the like, let's all just get along, let's be friends. Like even if you're out of line, I just want to squash the situation because like, I don't want to deal with drama.
Yeah.
And now I feel more comfortable, I guess, speaking my mind if something's bothering me. Like I don't feel like I have to appease people. I
Mm,
feel just more comfortable in my own skin. Like, hey, like you shouldn't do that. And I'm not worried about what the consequences of me speaking up are going to be. And that's why I always feel like learning any type of martial art or just anything physical can improve your confidence to the
for
point where
sure.
you can just be comfortable just speaking your mind and comfortable in your own skin and not worried if someone's going to hit you because they didn't like your opinion. And
Yeah.
I think people live in fear of getting punched in the face a lot. like
That's a great way. It's so simple, but it's so true.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
like watching movies and stuff, you think you get punched in the face and you're gonna die. You know, like it's like a Steven Seagal punch. Like you get hit, and it's like, you're
It's so
done.
true. It's so true. Yeah.
And
People
once you
are
learn,
really afraid of getting in fights.
yeah, yeah, and I think it's not just worry of being hurt, but also the embarrassment of
Yeah.
being hurt,
Yeah.
like in front of people.
Yep.
I think that, but I've always had a sharp tongue, so I was never worried about like getting like outwitted or someone like, talking smack to me and I couldn't give it back. But I was just worried if I gave it back too good, you know, then it's a fight, because they
Yeah.
don't have a comeback except for a right hand. And then once I started like learning how to move my body, like I didn't even have a fight yet, but I just felt more that confidence to just be like, hey, like I'm not afraid of a physical altercation. Like I know I'll live the next day if something happens. So yeah, let's talk this out. And it never comes to that, but I think
Yeah.
that fear of it coming to that will make people just kind of, take a lot of shit and just be miserable in that because they're afraid of what's going to happen if they speak up.
Yeah. So you would say fighting it changed you
I think it
for the
did. Yeah, for the
better. Yeah.
better. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it definitely allowed me to be more the way I would be with my friends, with acquaintances, you know what I mean? And so if I had a person at work that I had a problem with, they might not even know because I would just like keep it to myself and I wouldn't say
Mm,
anything. And once I was able to like get over that, because it was my own problem, it wasn't theirs. Like I may think they're being like, uh, a jerk to me, but like if they don't know, how are they going to fix that?
right.
And once I started training, I definitely got a lot more confident in myself. I got a lot more, relaxed around people who I didn't know that well, just because I'm like, I feel like I can handle myself in this room. I may not win, but I feel like I'll be okay. I'm not
So
gonna.
you feel like it freed you.
It did. It definitely frees you
Mm.
just
And
to
you
just to
feel
know what
like
you can do.
and look, I'm not trying to talk for you, but you felt like what bound you was if you tell your feelings, it may end up in a fight, and that's not what you want to happen.
Yeah, or even it'll end up in a fight and I have no idea what's going to happen next,
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Yeah,
And I think when you learn any type of martial art, like I was just doing Muay Thai at the time, but like I always tell people the first time I threw an elbow on those, the big Muay Thai pads that they have, the big like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
rectangle pillows. The first time I threw an elbow on that, I was just like, oh my God. I did that with this little arm. And I was like a stick back then. Like I was probably like 108 pounds soaking wet, but
But sticks actually hurt to get hit by.
yeah, you ever get kicked by a kid in the shin? Like it hurts. So
Bony,
yeah,
somebody bony. Yeah,
the bonier you are, the better in Muay Thai.
yep,
So,
Yep.
so I felt like a weapon. Like I felt like I could walk in and no matter what happened, I'd be able to at least like defend myself or whatever. And I think that makes such a difference in the way that you walk around, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're playing, go back to the video game references. It's like when you're playing a game, you're like level 1 and everything around you is level 10. And if you do anything, step the wrong way, look like you're about to walk into a room and steal something, then all the guards attack you and you're dead. You know, but but if you get up to level 10, then you're a little more comfortable with
Yeah.
like, you know, playing the game the way you want and just you could walk into this door. You don't have to worry if the guard approaches you. Like you just feel a little different, feel a little more safe in this world that you're in. And I think
Yeah.
that's what just, you know, just a few months of Muay Thai, I feel like that's what that did for me.
Yep. Do you ever try to get people, like, now that you know what you know, do you ever try to get people to like step into gyms?
Yeah, always. Yeah, I always tell people, and I'm like, I didn't want to fight when I started training. I just wanted to get in shape, and it just did
That's
so
why
much more for me.
that's why you stepped into Muay Thai, is just for training,
Yeah, I
or
did. I
just
just,
for to work out.
yeah, I was getting fat.
But why not tennis or swimming or
It
anything
was
else? Why Muay Thai?
boring. It was boring. Like I tried literally everything before I got to Muay Thai because it's pretty far down the list when when it
But
comes
you
to
chose the
things to do.
scariest, like you just said, I didn't want to get in a fight. I didn't open my mouth to anybody because I didn't want to get in a fight. But then I went into a gym where you fight.
Yeah, it's I think what happened was I tried biking. Cause me and my husband had just gotten married and we were getting that, you know, the little belly you get once you get married. We were gaining a little weight.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, let's try some workouts together. And I already tried like Zumba and done a fitness class at a gym, and I could barely do like bicycle crunches back then. Like I was skinny fat. Like I was skinny, but like I couldn't do shit. So not strong. I was feisty though. That I learned that my first couple of days, but I definitely wasn't fit. And so we tried just about everything. And when we tried biking, I feel like that was the last straw where I was like, okay, we need to do something else because this is dangerous. Like biking in New York is dangerous. So, I had always wanted to learn how to fight, but wasn't sure if like a boxing gym was the right fit for me. I felt like it was a little too serious. Like I felt like if I went into a boxing gym, then I'd have to fight. Like I'd never heard of someone going to a boxing gym for fun. And then when I heard about Muay Thai, um I think it was from a guy who trained jujitsu. And I was like, yeah, I just want to get in shape. I just want to learn how to hit things. But, you know, boxing seems a little intimidating. And they were like, oh, you should try Muay Thai. And I was like, huh?
Say
And
what now?
yeah. They're like, spell that for me. And so I looked it up, and a lot of the girls that I saw had like the bodies that I wanted. Like I didn't want to get too bulky. It was
That's the
so
body I want. That's
superficial.
the sport. Yeah.
It was super superficial. I'm like, oh, they have like the abs, but they're not like really bulky abs. They're the cute little 2-line abs.
Yeah.
And their arms aren't huge, and they just look athletic and slim and cute. And I'm like, okay, that's what I want to look like. So I'm gonna go and do that. And I didn't even think about what the sport looked like. I was just like, oh, they're fighting and they're cute. And so the first class that I actually ended up going to, I went with my husband. And like I said, the first elbow I threw on the pad, I was just like, whoa, that I'm generating a lot of power, and it feels like it would crack. Like if you throw an elbow on the pad and it pops and you hit it right on the tip of that elbow, man, like that, I felt so powerful in that one moment. Is
That's it.
the
You're
one moment.
hooked.
Yeah, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
hooked. And like everything else kind of looks lame at that point, like you never
Yeah.
thrown a real punch, never thrown a real kick. Like everything else felt really lame, but the elbow, it was like day one, that thing, I was just like, oh man, I could beat up my brothers with this one elbow, And it might not have been true, but that's how powerful it felt. And
Yeah.
that's how much, like, I was just so surprised, that I
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was that awakening moment. Like, oh man, I like doing a thing where I hit things hard. And yeah, from then on.
So what you and your husband joined this gym and he's never trained before either.
Yeah, he's never trained before either. And this is in 2009. We stepped into this place called Fight House in New York. And it was run by, it was run by this chick who just had a bunch of different martial arts in there. Like there was Krav Maga, there was an MMA class. I actually met Laura Senko there
Oh,
because
wow.
she was training with the
Yeah.
MMA guy, whoever he was, while I was training with the Muay Thai guy who was Brandon Levi. And he ended up opening his own school called Evolution Muay Thai after that. And we followed him there and, trained and fought under him for up until we moved to San Diego. So that was like my kind of upbringing in the sport. But yeah, 2009, I'd never thrown a punch, never thrown a kick. Neither had Adam. We both wanted to just get in shape, and we were just one of those people who we had to get told to go take a break, like,
Wow.
yeah, like, yo, you've been here every day. Like, make sure you don't burn yourself out. And we're like, oh, we're good. It's cool. We'll be back tomorrow, so
Wow. So
yeah,
and then he he was there from the highs, the lows, everything.
yeah, yeah. He was there
Wow.
for every part. Yep.
Yeah. And one question I wanted to ask is so you got on Tough, then you had a contract, and then you got let go from the UFC.
Mm.
What was that like? Like, how did you handle that?
It was rough. So when I got let go from the UFC, I had one fight. I won that. It was like 30-26. A lot of people said that the other corner should have thrown in the towel. So I was feeling pretty high off of that performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next fight was Tisha Torres in Mexico City. And that fight, I felt like she had experience on me, but then also the altitude just took the wind out of my sails. So it was a really boring fight. I just got laid on top
Mm,
of. And like I barely had the energy to get up. And then even when I did, like she didn't have the energy to, fight me either. So she was laying on top of me because she didn't want to do anything either. We were both just gassed from the altitude. So it was a really boring fight. And then my next fight was Rose Namajunas. And so I was just like, oh, I'm getting set up, because I had just gotten out grappled by someone who was, on paper, not as good of a grappler. And then they gave me another grappler who almost won the show. So it was one of those things where even though I felt like I was getting set up and I went out there ready to just, prove them wrong. When I lost, I felt like, well, I lost against the ranked number 2 and 3
yeah.
in my weight class. So, they're definitely not going to cut me. And then they cut me. So
Mm.
it was pretty devastating. And then,
And what were the thoughts that flooded in?
a lot, it was two sides. One side, I wanted to prove everyone wrong, prove everyone that I had the potential. I just didn't have the experience yet. So I was really motivated to get back in. But then
Mm.
on the other side, I was just like, man, like there are people in the UFC still who lost to these same two girls. There are people who didn't perform as well as I did in my wins and my losses, and they're still in there. And why did I get the boot? It made me feel less than. and it made me feel like maybe the UFC didn't want me to be there. And
Mm.
it was just one of those kind of, I couldn't have a pity party for too long because I knew there was work to be done for that other side of it, for the let's prove them wrong. Let's just get in there and get better and, make a great case to get back in there and get back to beating these people who I know I can beat. And, and that's kind of what happened. Like I went into Invicta and
Mm-hmm.
that was when I was still comfortable with hearing the opinions of people who didn't matter. Like I was like, oh, let's see what they're saying about me. And it was all like, Angela Hill just retired. She's old. She's this, she's that. I was 30 at the time,
I
but
know
yeah.
that's what
And
retire at 30.
but at the time, like that stuff affected me. Like I thought I was old. I thought I
Mm.
was going to be retiring in 2 or 3 years not because I wanted to, but because my body wouldn't hold up. Because every athlete that I had talked to was like, oh man, when you hit 30, you're going to feel it. Or when you hit 35. And it was always like, people were always telling me that I was going to feel it eventually.
At every
And
stage.
yeah, at every stage. So the whole time, my entire fight career, because I went pro at 28. So my entire fight career, I thought I was too old. And I was just like, let's just see what happens because I'm only going to be doing this for a few years and then I'll go back to animating, you know?
Yeah.
So I never really thought I'd be doing it this long. And that's one thing I regret. Like I wish that I knew how much time I had so I didn't rush into things. Like I
Mm.
felt like when I got in Invicta, I got knockouts in my first two fights there. And then, my third fight in Invicta was for the title. I ended up winning that. And then my fourth fight was to defend. And then I got brought back into the UFC. But I felt
So
like
did they call you?
yeah, they called me. They needed someone to fight Jessica Andrade.
Wow.
And it's like, oh, who else, who else but our friend Angela, who just got cut. She can fight the person who is about to fight Joanna for the title, So I went in again, fought like the number 2 or 3 girl when I got brought back into the UFC and got fight of the night. Like it was a good fight. I
Yeah.
dropped her. I definitely rocked her a few times. It was back and forth, but she just had that extra cardio push and was able to survive or not survive, but able to just fight hard all 3 rounds. And that's something we didn't expect. Like we thought she'd slow down. So our game plan was a little different. We had to like kind of pivot in the moment, but that I think my last round was the best round. That was the round I dropped her, and I feel like if I had counted on that pressure the whole time, then maybe it would have gone a little differently. But again, is I always had the hardest fights in the UFC,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I welcomed them. Like
And
I
fought
welcomed
the
the challenge.
hardest.
Yeah, and I fought the hardest. And
Yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't have it any other way, but I do think that my record would be a lot better and maybe my fame would be a bit higher if I had those fights where I'm fighting people at the same level, same experience level and kind of building. And if I didn't think that I was old, maybe I would have taken the time to do that, like maybe I would
Mm.
have stayed in Invicta a little longer and gotten more experience against, the level of competition that I needed in order to come back into the UFC and beat someone like a Jessica Andrade without any other, build up, like beat someone like all the people that I fought like Rose and Tisha without any build up. So I think that's the thing that I want to pass on to younger fighters is that you have time. Like just because people say there's a ceiling doesn't mean there's a ceiling. I've trained with 20-year-olds who have more injuries than I've had my entire career,
Mm.
because everyone's different.
Yep.
So I think it's important to instill that in every fighter. Like, hey, your story isn't written yet. Like
Yep.
whatever you want to do. If you want to retire at 15 or if you want to retire at 55, like that's your story. So don't let someone tell you that you're making the wrong decision or that you're being silly for believing in these things when it's definitely something that could happen. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody knows you, and I think everybody knows that when you step into the ring, you bring it. I
Yeah.
like I said, your fights are fire. They're always fun. They're always, yeah, you push it to the limit. So it's really awesome to watch. How much longer do we have you in the UFC? How long are you? 45, 50? You gonna go to?
We'll see. I did a silly song for you know how they have the MMA the not music awards, but they have the MMA awards, and they'll always do these little skits where they just do a silly song and they dub over it. Adam Hunter hit me up. He's the guy who does them, and we did like a Sexy Red song, but we changed the lyrics so it was MMA, and I like begged him to let me actually rap over it, like not get a voice to do it. So I was really proud of that. And in the song I say I'm gonna get the belt when I'm 50. So so we'll see. We'll see.
So we'll
It could
see.
happen. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still like trying to figure this out, but I'm like, man, there's such a difference between men and women. I don't know. Like, do women recover faster? Do they have a longer career? I don't know.
I think
I
size
guess
has
you'll
something
show
to do
us.
with it. Yeah, yeah. I think size has something to do with it. I think if you can avoid injury, you can really prolong your career. And
Yeah.
especially if you don't get hit in the head as much, you could prolong your career too. Like I feel like I haven't taken a lot of damage in my fights for the most
Mm,
part. Like there's been like maybe two or three where I came out a little beat up, but for the most part, I'm not getting hit a lot. Like if anything, my Achilles heel is just getting restrained. Like
yeah.
and so I was like, all right, they're using the bouncer method. So like
Yep.
I'm not taking a lot of damage in a lot of my fights. And yeah, I feel like that's why I've been able to fight so long because I have had movement and because I have, good awareness in the stand up department and I'm not getting like cracked a ton. And as long as like the conditioning holds up, I feel like I'll be safe in there. I think once I start to feel that dip off, then I'm gonna have to like really consider like, okay, maybe it's time to put the gloves down because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times when fighters don't retire soon enough, there's this one fight that retires them, you know?
Yeah.
And
And you
like
don't
that
want that.
no, like you don't want that. Like you want to
Yeah.
go out on an upswing. You want to go
Yep.
out like yeah, I did it, you know? Like I don't want to be like that one movie. I forget what the movie was, but the guy has one final fight and he wins, but he's blind. Like I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with going out on a loss as long as I can, have my full faculties about me. But yeah, it's one of those things where and I always tell my husband, like, be honest with me if you feel like I'm not ready, tell me, if you feel like
Mm,
I'm not gonna make it. And I'm probably gonna be mad at you for a while, but but in
wow.
the end, I already gave you this permission to tell me that
Yeah.
it's time if I'm not trying to make that decision myself. So he knows. And I think my last camp, even though it was a loss, my last camp I looked really good in the camp before that. So, I still definitely think we got another year. So
Yeah,
so we'll
for
see.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how long that lasts. And, I also, we've like talked about having kids. And even though I'm 40, like people have been having kids at an older age now. So if we decide to do that, that's probably going to cut those last years down too. So we'll see what happens and see how we're feeling going into the next assignment and stuff. But right now I feel good. I feel like ready to get back on it as soon as my break is over and ready to hit the new year strong. So
yeah. Well, listen, Angela, your resilience and your drive are so inspiring. They really are. Like even your drive in the fights, but also your drive in the longevity of your career. It's really inspiring. It really is. So thank you so much for being on here.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
The Heart of the Bad Wolf is created and hosted by Nicholas James Muscarella, produced by Nicholas James Muscarella and Robert Altschuler, edited, recorded, and mixed by Robert Altschuler at Command Creative Studios. Music by Alex Grohl. Special thanks to every fighter who shared their story and their wolf. Don't forget to hit the like, follow, and subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform to get notified when new episodes drop. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Heart of the Bad Wolf.